Okay, Caitlin and Lawrence, I'm out to explore this area, and I heard there were giants in this area, and huge giants that are 3,000 years old, over 3,000 feet high. They are taller than the taller than the Statue of Liberty, and some of them have lived so long. And oh, there's one, look at it, holy cow. But it's not a human giant, it's a tree giant. So I took these videos so that you could see, look at this one, it's like double. So you could maybe appreciate these giant sequoia trees. They're called sequoia trees. And they grow from little tiny seeds. Imagine that. But only in this area they call the Goldilocks area. The Goldilocks area is the right temperature, the right humidity, and it's between 5,000 and 6,000 feet high. That's where these giants like to live. So this is, and you'll only find them on the the west side of the Sierra Mountains in California, and only in this area in the whole world. It's the only thing, and they're the oldest living things on Earth. Imagine that. Holy cow. So let's take a walk, and I'll take a video as I go. Here's another double one. You could see how it's really two trees. I guess they're like twins. And the sun is between the two. Let me get you so you can see how tall they are. Imagine climbing up one of these. So I'm going to take this trail. There's another two. They don't always grow in twos like that one. Like this one is just one. And then here's just a regular pine tree, and you can see it's not even a third the size. So let's go take a short hike and see what we can find and see if we see any more giants. Here's another one that I found. Another giant. Look how high he goes. Amazing. And then there's two more across the way here. Look at that. The small pine tree is under the shadow of him, but look how big he is. Look how wide he is. And he goes all the way up there. There's another one. And you can see there was probably a fire here. Because a lot of times fire takes root in this forest, and they actually heal themselves. Like this one is still alive, but it probably had a fire maybe 100 years ago. Who knows? But they wind up healing themselves. Look at these two. So they were probably caught in the same fire. And even though they lost some of their bark, the bark is so thick that it protects the tree. So beautiful. So over there, I'll show you this. Look at that tree. And it's hollow, and sometimes the bears and the animals, they hibernate inside the trees during the winter. So it's a long, cold winter up here. It's cold here now. In the valley it's in the 80s, but up here it's in the 50s. So you can see there's a number of big trees. Let me back you up so you can see them. And this is in Sequoia National Park, which is in California. And it's the only place in the world that these trees grow. Really amazing. I mean, just look how big they are. But any higher and It's too cold and windy. Any lower, it's too dry and hot. But that's why they call it the Goldilocks zone. And the sequoias love this area. Okay, here's another big one, and it's right on the trail, so I could touch it. And I'll give it a hug. Because I believe that if you hug trees, they give you some power. I've always believed that. Anytime I was running or hiking past trees, big trees, I would hug them. Let's see. And there you can see the bark. Some of it seems soft, but you can see how thick it is. Let's go all the way up and show you. Wow. Pretty cool. Hugging this tree. Pretty neat, huh? Okay, here's some more giants. And for this, you have to cross the street to continue this trail. And the trail goes through the big trees. There's some more over here. At one time, before they built this road, the only way to get here was by horse and buggy or horse. And then they built the road, and it was only a one-lane road at one point. And then they built a two-lane road so people could visit. And it increased dramatically the people who came to visit Sequoia National Park. Wow, look at this one, how two of them, how tall they are. We're gonna walk between them. I'm gonna say bread and butter, right? Bread and butter, bread and butter. Amazing. I wish you guys were here, and someday I want you to come here and think of me and think of this place, and maybe you'll remember this video. Huh? Look at all of these. How big they are. I wonder the noise they make when they fall. Oh boy, I wouldn't want to be around, huh? That's one that fell. Look at that. Look how big it is. Wow. We'll zoom in on that. Look how big that is. That must have fallen maybe hundreds of years ago. Okay. Well, I'm going to continue down the trail, and we'll see what we discover. More giants. Hey, there's a meadow over here. We're going to hike around the meadow, and we'll see these guys. Look how big they are. Have I told you how big they are lately? Have I used the word big enough? What's the biggest tree near where you live in South Carolina and in Georgia? See if you can compare how big these are to those. So let's walk around the meadow. This is called the Big Trees Trail. So let's take that. And there was snow. Now there's still snow in the shady parts. Look, there's snow. Not too many days ago. Some of the roads here are still, look at that, snow. And it's May, beginning of May, and there's still snow. But some of the roads are still closed because all the campgrounds are closed till the end of May because we're so high up. Look at that big bad boy. That's the one I showed you before that fell. Imagine the sound it made. There's a stream that goes through here. And the meadow. The meadow is good for deer, foxes, different animals. And they like to graze on the grass. And you see where the stream is, it's very green and lush. That's because there's constant water. So they like the water. And the animals come out. So what we're going to do is, we're here, and we're going to hike all around this meadow, and I'm going to take you along with me, okay? Since we can't do it together, we're going to do it through a video. How's that? Okay, here's another one. Look how gnarly the bottom of that one is. But look how big it goes. Wow. So it has to have, they need it's 23, this tree is 23 feet wide. And it has to have moist soil, open sunny forest, a climate that's not too cold, and bare ashy ground. So it needs water, sun, open canopy, and fire. All those things help the sequoia grow and live so long. This is the meadow, and there you can see his buddies across the way. Okay, there's a few more. I hope you're seeing how you get the picture of how big these guys are. And it's a bench, so you can see that bench will fit 3 people maybe. And you can see how wide the tree is in comparison. Crazy. So I want to show you is, look where these rocks are. These boulders got here. How did they get here? Because look, there's all soil, but at one time a river probably came through here and either pushed these rocks here, or the glaciers, which is, a glacier is like a river of ice. And it's so powerful it pushed these rocks here. And when it melted, it left the rocks in place. But look at that, it's probably thousands of years ago it butted up against this tree, which probably wasn't as big as it is now. And the reason that they don't grow in the meadow is because it's too wet for them. And you can see a person over there. You can see the size of the tree next to them. But because it's too wet, the sequoias don't like it. So they don't grow right in this meadow. And when the snow melt comes, it probably is gushing and really wet. So the seedlings can't grow. The other thing they need is fire. So the pine cones that you see, they have tiny little seeds in them. And when a fire hits it, this pine cone explodes and sends out these little seedlings. If the seedlings fall on leaves, then they can't grow. But if they fall on open ground where the fire was, they love that, and they take root and they start to grow little by little. And in 1,000 years, you start to get a tall tree. So that's the story of the sequoia. There's another dead one. It's a piece removed, but you can see these 2 dead sequoias. And you could also see the holes in it. And those holes are probably from woodpeckers and animals, because they dig into the bark to hunt insects. Especially after a tree dies, a lot of insects go in there and try to live inside the old bark for protection and for food. And the woodpeckers and the other birds will peck at it, and even bears will go in and they look for honey from bees. There's a big one that fell. You can see its roots back up over there. So there's a tree that's fallen, and you could see the hole goes right through it. So if you were a bear, that's where I'd hibernate. Wow. Pretty neat. Let's see it from the other side. See how long it goes. It's like a big tunnel. Little apartment. You can live in there. Okay, so here's a question for you. How did that rock on the top get on the top of this big boulder here? Let's see if you can guess. There's no canyons around for it to fall. So what put that rock up there? Was it a giant? Well, it was probably a glacier, or this was a river. You could see there's a little stream left, but there may have been a glacier. Glacier's solid ice, and it's so powerful it brings rocks down from the mountains and brings them, and that's probably what happened. When the glacier melted and receded, it put it up there. It left it up there. Crazy, huh? Okay, so this one is a stream, comes down, you can see from up in the mountains, and it goes under this giant sequoia that fell. You see how clear the water is. This is the meadow from the other side. Those are the trees that I showed you before. Here's another one. See how big it is. Here's a big grove of sequoia. There's 1, 2, 3. Well, that's triplets there. Another 3. Another 2 over there. Another 2 over there. 1 over there. You can see. Amazing. And they said this one is when they have flared bases like that one, it's because they're growing in moist areas. And when they're straight up and down like that, it's drier. Kind of like putting your feet in the water. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this trip, this little hike with me. And even though you're not here with me, you are here in my spirit and my heart. I'm glad to have taken you along. I'll put this video together, and hopefully your folks can put it on the TV so you can watch it and think of me and learn a little about the sequoias in Sequoia National Park in California. Okay? I love the both of you, Anlie and Lawrence, and I hope to see you soon. Okay? You take care of yourselves, take care of your parents, and be well. Love you. Bye. Okay, before I leave you, I just wanted to show you this one. This is a fire scar, and you can see it's already building more bark to protect itself. And it's a healthy tree. And they say that a typical sequoia survived many fires each century and grows back from the scars from the fire. Okay, Andy and Lawrence, I'm going to actually walk through the inside of a sequoia. So this is Kings Canyon National Park, which is next to Sequoia. And they have sequoias here too. Look how, it's like being in a cave, in a tunnel. Look how big this tree is. And the second biggest tree in the world is here in Kings Canyon, and it's called the General Grant. Yesterday I showed you the General Sherman. Those were Civil War generals. But look how, oh, and there's a window, a hole in the top. That's where it came from. And I'm inside the tree. This tree must have fallen, and it's all dug out. Isn't that amazing? So now we're going to come out the other side. Crazy. Thank you. Just a small section of a sequoia, but I wanted to show you how thick. That's my hand. See how thick the bark is? And then inside are the rings, and it's wet inside because the water comes up the tree. Okay, here's some photos that I took of the sequoia and my hike.